My name's Darran McGlynn. I'm an artist from Inishowen. So text is a central part of my practice, and I tend to treat it sculpturally. I take the text as a sculptural medium, as building blocks where it can be changed and rearranged, or even just reinterpreted, depending on the context that it's been used or presented in. Handmade signs have always been something I've been interested in visually. Shop fronts, particularly more obscure sort of style, and also the idea of abandonment, of things being abandoned. Whereas you can see maybe some signs that had a heyday and have now obviously just been left for dereliction. That sort of thing is quite interesting as well. Come what may, obviously, is a well-known phrase which was, I believe, penned by Shakespeare originally. And come what may, June, July really speaks to me about one, like the resilience of the human spirit to just sort of cope and carry on whilst trying to enjoy life without getting too bogged down by what's going on. It's like an acceptance of the inevitable, of what's happening. It's almost admitting that we don't have control over what's going on and making the best of life that we can whilst knowing that as well. Come what may, June, July is written with an open source font called Linux Libertine, which is quite widely used, including by Wikipedia. And I wanted to keep it simple, black and white, and present it like a statement on the wall. So almost reminiscent of a mural, but not quite. I specifically wanted to use this large gable end wall because I think it made it more imposing in the gallery. Summer Rains obviously plays on the phonetics of rains, and t-shirts are something I've always been interested in as a medium, not just as a thing in life actually, just I find quite pleasurable. I think everybody likes a good t-shirt as well. So I wanted to have something that people could take away from the exhibition, and it's playing on the whole holiday experience, the whole being packaged experience, and having almost like a souvenir gift shop at the entrance to the exhibition. I think the choice of typeface is really important. Like a subtle, very small difference in a typeface can change how people perceive the work. But I wouldn't go, I always draw the line before it gets into like design or typeface design. So I want the typeface to complement the content in the work as much as possible, but I don't want to verge into the area of graphic design. So I wanted to have some reference to domestic life in the exhibition, which is where the faux fur comes in, that sort of tactile element of comfort and that level of comfort that everybody sort of seeks in their home. I thought it was a way of relating to people, of drawing people in, maybe that it might make them more aware of the wider theme of the exhibition, or maybe that they could relate it to themselves more through that reference to the domestic life as well. The lightbox, was built to be a lightbox with more reference to commercial lightboxes and advertising than, for example, a television. So I specifically wanted the image of the people in it to be suspended almost within this light box, which is again offered up like a sort of package from some kind of marketing company or some kind of lifestyle guru. So when I walked into the gallery first, one of the things that struck me as being really unique was the big double window. And it's one of the first things I said to myself is, I really need to try and use this for a piece of work, either to place a sculpture in front of that you could kind of relate to the outside as well. But it actually transpired that it ended up being a photograph on vinyl that I pasted onto the window to really split the view in half. So to have the imaginary idyllic seaside holiday on one side and then the reality of Inishowen on the other side. And it also acts almost as a natural light box. It kind of plays on that idea again of light boxes and the packaging of people and the packaging of products to sell to people. So that's really where that comes from. So the images are photographs of existing photographs, which is where a lot of the grain comes into view. So what you're seeing is actually an enlarged version of the grain and the ink deposits in the original photo. So when you blow that up, it takes on an almost abstract element. So one of the things I'm really interested in about text is the double meanings and how many words have multiple meanings according to how the context that they're used. So obviously with the title Peers, we're all familiar with peers as in you're to be surrounded by your peers. But I also like the idea of its other meaning, which means to look at something with either concentration or confusion. So it gives that sense of looking in from the outside, kind of trying to figure out what's going on and do you feel comfortable where you are, and you know, what are you looking in at and do you feel part of it. I wanted to use the curtain to actually physically split the environment, and it also plays on the title. I wanted to stop people in their tracks a little bit, and I wanted to make people smile in a way, to kind of go, what am I supposed to do here? Like, can I go through, or what happens if I go through, or am I supposed to look from the outside or the inside? So I wanted people to stop in their tracks for a second and just go, hang on, what am I supposed to do here? The other thing about the curtain was to have that tactile element to the show where you have to touch something, and also the sound, which I think added, you know, to the whole experience, particularly with Cascade in the background of and the rain, the summer rains. And I also like that idea of kind of tacky exoticism. I like that idea that we go somewhere to get something and it's actually really tacky, and then we're super excited, and then we bring it back home and make our home really tacky as well, but we love it. Most of my ideas I just write down, often starting with one word or a small line of text, which could end up being the title or an actual text piece. I think really the second phase would be to get my hands on the materials and have at least small pieces of the materials around that I want to use, so you can see what's going to go together and what kind of finish you want. And then a lot of it is, I suppose, geometry. And in terms of design, like how heavy do you want the piece to look, or how light do you want it to look? You know, do you want it to be imposing, or do you want it to look vulnerable? All these things come down to, like, for example, how thick or thin you make a frame, or how thick or thin you make the legs on a stand, or how high you make it. So that really involves placing, if I don't have the actual object itself made, placing a mock-up of the object to size and literally staring at it for hours and hours. How I arrived at the exhibition here really was a process of eradication more than addition. The longest process in making work for me is eradication. When people are confronted with an image that they can't really take, or an object that they can't really take anything away from, if they took something away, it wouldn't work anymore. I think that's for me when it's finished, it's done.